Hi guys, my name is Hope Lushamochiamba and you are listening to Have you ever felt like you don't really know yourself anymore? Or you find yourself changing personalities depending on the type of person that you're spending your time with? Or do you find yourself doubting or thinking about what your purpose in life is all about? Well, today's episode is titled Identity Crisis. We'll be looking at identity crisis, especially online identity crisis. So, if you have been feeling the things that I have just mentioned, this is the right episode for you. Hello, everyone. My name is Hope Lushamochiamba. In case you are new here, thank you so much for tuning into my podcast. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back and thank you so much for returning to my podcast. Today we'll be discussing identity crisis, and on our youth spotlight, we'll be featuring Mapalo Thuzia Charles, who will be giving us more insights on online identity crisis. So keep listening to the end of this podcast and get to learn how you can navigate this identity crisis, or what you should and shouldn't do, or how to just go through this whole process of being in an identity crisis. It may be confusing, may be complicated, but if you have been feeling that way, this video is definitely for you. Firstly, we're going to start by talking about what an identity crisis is. If you are doubting or thinking about how an identity crisis comes about, this is basically a phase or a stage in our lives where we feel like we don't really know ourselves anymore, or we don't know what we are doing in life or what we stand for. You practically feel confused about your purpose in life and where you're going in life, and you don't even know where you should or should not fit in. It's a whole complicated thing, but what you should know is that identity crisis is part of growing up. It's part of developing as a human being, and you don't have to feel horrible about all those feelings that you're feeling. Yes, they will make you feel confused, they'll make you feel lost, they'll make you do so many silly things that you may end up regretting in the end. But all this is actually part of growing up. Normally, when you get to feel an identity crisis, you get to feel an identity crisis when you are changing. It's either when you're changing from a different environment, or maybe growth. You're changing from one age to another age. The person that you are when you were 13, 15, 18, 21, 24, 28 are different people altogether. You cannot be the same person forever. You have to undergo some certain type of change for you to actually develop as a human being. And one of those stages most people go through is called an identity crisis. This normally comes about when you realize that the world isn't as you imagined it to be. You get to see the world from a whole different perspective. You get to see some certain parts of the world that you have never seen before. And now you start to put patterns together, and you start to realize, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, maybe I should be doing that, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, maybe I should do this differently. And that's when you find yourself thinking about what I did in the past, what am I doing in the future, where am I gonna go, how will I find myself in 5 years, am I really making progress in my life? You get to question all those things, and you feel like you're behind, or you feel like you don't really know who you are anymore. All that is normal. It's part of development, it's part of growing up. Why does an identity crisis happen? So an identity crisis happens from so many different places. Like I earlier mentioned, it could be peer pressure from your peers. Maybe your friends may be influencing you to do these things that you may not be comfortable with, or may not really match with the type of identity that you hold. But because you want to fit into that certain peer group, you're going to do certain things. And this is where it comes about, where you behave or you have different personalities based on the people that you are found with. Maybe at home, you may find yourself with a whole different identity. At church, you have a whole different identity. At work, you have a whole different identity. And at school, you have a whole different identity. So you may find that just one person has 5, 6, 7 different identities depending on who they are spending their time with. Sometimes this identity also comes about when we see certain things online. As a media advocate, I always encourage people to say that everything that we see, not everything that we see online is real. So sometimes you may find yourself in a situation where many people are doing certain things online and you feel as though everything that you see online is real. Let me tell you this. Not everything that we see on the internet is real. There are certain things that are just put out there because that's what people want you to see. Not everybody is going to come out with the negative parts of their life. They're only going to put out the positive parts for people to see the positive parts. And that is why you'd be so surprised when something goes on online and maybe your favorite couple, right? Your favorite couple is getting a divorce. And now you begin to question yourself, I never saw this coming because I've always seen this couple posting this, that, and that. They've never shown you the negative, right? You didn't know that that couple was having serious marital issues, but they only put it out there for you to know that, oh, this is the goodness about our lives. We're not going to put out our negative parts online. No. So people put what they want you to see online. It's not every single thing that they're going to put out there. Another thing that may cause us to find ourselves having this identity crisis is certain experiences that we have in life. I think a good example I can give are relationships, right? Even friendships. You may find yourself in a very toxic friendship and you fail to understand whether what that friend is portraying to you is something genuine, something kind. You don't really get to know what's real, what's not, because you are now having an identity crisis. You don't know what's what anymore. You find yourself so stuck and you don't know where to go. You don't know how to navigate certain situations. You don't know what's real and what's fake. And now you begin to question yourself. Is what I'm doing right? Is what I'm doing wrong? Am I supposed to do this like this? Am I supposed to do this like that? And then even in relationships, you may find that in your past relationship, you found yourself going through so many different phases. There's gaslighting, there's lying, there's cheating, and all these other things. And now when you're trying to move on into a different relationship, you find yourself having this identity crisis. Now you don't know. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to approach a new relationship. You don't know how to go about a new relationship because now you're having so many different personalities. You had a whole different personality with this different person, and now that you have met another person, it's like you're having to form a whole new identity altogether. It all goes with friendships as well. You may have had this friend for quite some time and you guys got used to each other, different personalities, and you managed to merge everything together. You now move on to another relationship and now you have to start everything from scratch, building everything from scratch, and you wouldn't fail to find yourself lost. Like you don't know where to begin from. You don't know what to do. You find yourself thinking as though you're stuck at some point in life. Like, am I supposed to go forward? Am I supposed to take a step back? Am I supposed to leave way for healing? Am I supposed to, all those types of questions are the things that are going to be coming to your mind when you're going through an identity crisis. What does an identity crisis actually feel like? Let's be real here. An identity crisis. I, for one, have gone through an identity crisis before. I've felt so lost before. And for me, I felt like it was a changing environment. I was moving from high school to university, where at least in high school, you have common people from a common district. People are from within town. You get to relate with people on a different level. And then now you're moving to university where you have people from outside the country, You have people from different provinces, different cultures, different traditions, and everything is different. Others are rude, others are kind. And now you find yourself in that environment. Others dress like this, others dress like that. And now you are stuck. You've come from this environment where you're just a small circle. You're going to a bigger environment where there's so many different people, different things going on. You feel lost. You feel like, I need to fit in somewhere. Like, I need to find my group. You need to fit in somewhere. You feel confused. You feel like you don't know what's going on. Like, you don't know what's going on. You now try to change your personality. You see what I was saying? You now try to change your personality. You were a whole different person when you were in your smaller group. But now there are bigger groups and you need to fit in one particular group. And now you start changing your personality, trying to fit in a particular group. And the crazy thing about everything is that you may look okay on the outside, but inside you're confused. You're so confused, and it's worse if you don't even have anyone to talk to, or you don't have anyone close who you can actually relate with. If you're starting from scratch, imagine going to uni and just starting from scratch. You don't even have any friends, maybe seniors or relatives within, and you're starting everything from scratch. Whew. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You get to that point and you now begin to question your values and your beliefs. You find yourself in a whole new environment. If you are going to this church at home, you find yourself going to a whole different church at school. And now you begin to question your values. You start asking yourself, now I'm believing in this. At home, we do this. Where I'm coming from, we do this. Like, things are different. You question your choices. You now start asking yourself, if I do this, what's going to happen? If I don't do that, what's going to happen? You start questioning all those things. It's like you're lost. You're confused. Your whole life feels like it's crumbling apart and you don't know what to do. Like, you really don't know what to do. But it's not a disease. It's really not a disease. And you can actually navigate your way through it. I navigated my way. I came out alive. I survived. Going into my 4th year, and I have survived 3 years of uni. My first 2 years, crisis. Here is a truth that nobody is going to tell you. A simple truth that nobody is really going to openly tell you, unless somebody genuinely has your heart and interest. Unless somebody genuinely has your best interest at heart, definitely they are going to tell you this. But let me tell you this. Life doesn't stay the same. If for you, life has been the same since you were 2 years old, there must be something wrong with you. There must be something seriously wrong with you, because life does not stay the same for a very long time. You get to evolve, and identity is not something that is fixed. The more you grow, or the different stages you go through in life, have a different identity. I can give an example of when you were 3 years old, you had career day, right? You had career day, you wanted to be a police officer, you wanted to be a soldier, you wanted to be a nurse, you wanted to be a what? That's what you had in your head. That was your identity. That was your vision when you were 5 years old. And then other people, it gets to change. As you grow, things change. So you change, and now you are seeing life at a whole different perspective. The values that you had when you were 13, the values that you had when you were 15, 16, when you were 21, when you were 25, all those things begin to change. As you grow, you now begin to think of bills to pay, you begin to think of taxes to pay, you begin to think of businesses to start, you begin to be like-minded. And through every stage in life, I feel like there's always an identity crisis somewhere. It's just that the older we grow and the more mature we get, that's when we actually get to identify that you're going through an identity crisis. So that's the truth that nobody is going to tell you. Life is always evolving. You can't be the same person. And finally, we get down to how you can navigate this identity crisis. The first thing that you should do when you feel like you are confused in life, you feel like you don't know what's going on. Slow down. Slow down and breathe. Don't process things too quickly. Slow down and breathe. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Another thing that I always say is be the best version of yourself. You may have role models, you may have people that you look up to, but be the utmost best version of yourself, not another person. Yes, you want to be like Kim Kardashian. Yes, you want to be like, I don't know who else, like Oprah. You know, you want to be like Obama. You want to be like the president of Zambia. You can be better than all those people that you look up to if you actually have the potential. Don't set your mind to be like them. Set your mind to be better than them. What's this? Be better than Bill Gates. Better than all these people. Not be them. Be the first best version of yourself, not the second best version of somebody else. Listen to that again. Be the best version of yourself and not the second best version of somebody else. Stop comparing what's online to what you have in life. Learn to be content, learn to have gratitude. Start where you are. Don't wait for somebody to come and tell you, oh, you must do this, you must do that. You must have that thing in you to self-reflect and to self-develop. Learn to reflect more. As you grow up, you may not be into writing, you may not be into reading and all these other things, but find something that works for you. There's always something that works for somebody. Learn to self-reflect. Like I said, at the end of the year, analyze the progress that you've done. Get a paper, write down the good that you've done and some of the things that you're disappointed in and that you can do better, or how best you can do better in those things that you're disappointed in. And reflect. If you're good at writing, write down how you're feeling, express yourself, and now start to analyze. When you read through and analyze yourself, or you start to now see what you've done or where you're going, after making all that analysis, how best are you going to navigate that situation? How best are you going to do better? That's how you're going to find yourself navigating your way through an identity crisis. And always choose you. Don't choose what other people have put out there. Always choose the best version of yourself, not the worst version. Like I said, we are going through an identity crisis to be a better person than I was before. So choose the best version of yourself. You must always think positive in a way that you are going for something that's going to develop you, that's going to build you, and that's going to make a better character in you, to something that feels authentic to you. Learn to have boundaries, believe in your values, stand for what's you, like what's yours, and what you believe is okay with me, is okay with me, and is going to be okay with me as I grow and develop. Have those boundaries. If there are people that are weighing you down, cut them off. It doesn't hurt. Cut them off. If it is a friend, if it is a partner, and they are disturbing your progress, they are making you feel like you don't really know who you are, cut them off. And simply talk to somebody that you trust. Always trust in someone. Have that someone that you can talk to, someone that motivates you, by the way. Don't just talk to anyone, guys. Don't just talk to anyone. You can't talk to somebody else that's going to weigh you into another problem. No. Find that one person in your life that's going to motivate you. That's the person that you're supposed to talk to. When you speak to that person, it feels a whole lot better. Yeah, it feels a whole lot better, and it weighs, it lifts the burden that you get to feel of, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. So when they motivate you, you now begin to think and analyze, who do I want to be? What do I want to become? What should I do best for myself? These are questions that you should be asking yourself. And that's all I had for you. That's all I prepared for you. I didn't want it to be so long and boring, and I didn't want to preach on something that I don't practice. So yeah, That's all I had. I'm now going to hand it over to Suzia Bapalo Charles, who is our youth spotlight for this particular episode, and he will be specifically talking about an online identity crisis. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Uhmmmm Charles in Indola. What is causing youth these days to have an online identity crisis is peer pressure, number one. The things we are seeing, the trends that are being portrayed out there are causing us youth to lose our way. You leave yourself and try to chase after a character that you are seeing online, which might not even be true. It might just be false, something which is made even from artificial intelligence, and that is making us have pressure to get things that are not aligning with our standards at that time, be it fashion, the food that you'd want to eat. Just because you see a celebrity out there eating that food or dressing in a particular way, and you want to align yourself with that person, you move away from what you know, what you've been groomed with, and you lose your way. The other thing which is causing us to portray false online identities is the pressure to fit in. Like I mentioned earlier, trends are a big factor in this. They are playing a huge role. You're a person, you want to associate with a certain group or a certain society away from yours. If you feel you maintain your authenticity, you'll be lost. So you align with what a certain group is doing, which might not even be in accordance with your own personal values or your cultural beliefs. This is really hindering us a lot and causing us to move away from what we know, what we've been groomed with, and we are just losing ourselves. And in the end, the crisis is eating hard because you tend to do things that do not align with your values. Let's say there's a certain type of fashion that is trending and it's expensive. You can't afford it. You would steal just to get that thing so that you jump on the trend and you fit in. You would want to acquire certain things or be someone that you are not. People are even going as far as bleaching their skins just to look a certain way to fit in. You would feel if, as a man or a lady, a young lady, if you are dark, then you are not part of society. You would start bleaching so that you get a certain skin tone. And when you portray those things online, that is not the real you. You are totally wrong. So in the end, these are some of the things that are causing us to portray false online identities. That is why it's not everyone and everything you are seeing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram that is real. Let's maintain authenticity. Let's be ourselves. Thank you.
Those were interesting points coming from Tuzia Mapalo Charles, and I'm so glad that he was part of this show today. And I'm so happy for each and every single one of you that have actually reached the end of this particular podcast. Thank you so much for watching this particular podcast. Please remember to share, subscribe, and like this podcast. Share with your friends, share with your classmates, share the podcast. Please and thanks. Until next time, it's bye-bye.
Me, baby. She said she knows me, I'm a stage. I told her I can be a bobo. She said she wants to be my baby. She said she's serious and she don't play. I'm like, okay, that's what you want, say. Yeah, tell me involve me. Depends how I'm feeling at the time of the day.
Said she want roll, remember. She don't come, send don't come. Said she gaslight, she wants what's better. I need her for my agenda. Jimmy got her like Zella. Me and AJ locked in that bread.